I'm Tiara Bonisi. Welcome to Big Mouth Woman. Big Mouth Woman is a podcast and a platform for women to talk they shit. Okay, I don't know how to say it in a better way. Big Mouth Woman is a change maker, is an advocate who uplifts her voice to edify, to challenge, to disrupt, to educate. There are so many big mouth women through history that I stand on their shoulders. We stand on their shoulders. It's the Ella Bakers. It's the Maya Angelou's, the Ida B. Wells. Those women, Sojourner Truth, those women were our historical big mouth women. Like literally nothing moves without a woman being able to use her voice to disrupt, and without a woman being able to take it the distance. It's one thing just to talk that talk, but you gotta walk that walk to back up what you have to say. And that is the essence, okay? That is the spirit of being a big mouth woman. I have the pleasure of introducing to you some of my favorite big mouth women that I know personally, who I would allow to speak on my behalf any day, no matter what they say. We don't even have to agree. I just trust their voices that much. And so this is a space for women to have discourse, to talk about the things that are important to us, right now in this season, regardless if we agree or disagree. I don't really believe in being politically correct, although I think there's some strategy in that I could utilize more. But I really want to hear what you have to say and what they have to say, regardless if it's perfect, if it's cute, if the words are correct, so that we can grow together and challenge each other and really be the change makers I know that we are and that I know we can be. So welcome to the Big Mouth Woman podcast. Welcome to Big Mouth Woman, and I'm going to have you guys say your names and what you do. It don't have to be the dry version of what you do. It could be any version, however you want to answer the question. So we will start on this end and just work our way around.
Hello, my name is Zania St. Charles. You call me Zen. I am a entrepreneur, a world traveler, and a CSEC abolitionist.
Ashe?
Hello, I'm Joya. A lot of people know me by Joya Boya. I'd like to call myself a revolutionary. I am helping my people remember the ways of our ancestors in every way.
Ashe. Love that.
I'm Jewel Bijou. I'm a wellness practitioner, and I enjoy spending a lot of time centering myself and what I look like. I'm like a student, a really, really black student of Frida Kahlo.
I love her.
Oh, I love that.
That is my girl. Okay. I said my name. I'm Tiara. I just took on Bonisi. That's my father's last name, and it empowers me and it makes me feel good. I'm a writer. I'm a curator of women's things, Black girl things, Black self-esteem, empowerment, and I'm a part of the sisterhood and like the global girl gang. And I feel like people will ask, like, what do you identify first, Black as a woman? And I think I identify as a woman first, most days of the week. And I'm okay with that. So, yeah.
Ashe. I'm Naisha, also known as Blackberry Nye. What don't I do? I blossom, I butterfly. Butterfly. But I am Legend's mama, number one, and Olivia's daughter, number two. I'm Pawpaw's princess. I love my TTs, love my aunties. So I'm a family member. I'm a sister, a community member. I am a life coach for youth and young girls. I am a self-esteem advocate, a Black esteem mentor, and I'm beautiful.
Sure you are. The melanin is popping.
That's how you
My name is Selena Wilson, and I think of myself as a village auntie, growing into a village mother, as well as a status quo disruptor. So for me, what that looks like is running the East Oakland Youth Development Center, which is the village that raised me. When people think of me, they think of Deep East Oakland. That is just really a part of the fabric of who I am.
That's dope.
Grew up, really raised by East Oakland, and find that to be a really important part of who I am and what I'm dedicated to. And in terms of being just a status quo disruptor, I just feel like we have to question why and how things are the way that they are. And we know that living in this society, that it all boils down to power hoarding among a very small group of people, which when we talk about Black women, we are at the very bottom of the kind of hierarchy that has been created in this society. And so when I think about what it looks like to ultimately disrupt the status quo, it looks like turning a lot of that on its head. And I know Angela Davis talked about how when we increase the power of Black women, that nearly every other area of society, other than those in power, benefits.
Facts.
Because, when we think about patriarchy, when we think about capitalism, when we think about all these other elements that have been truly, truly, truly oppressive to the most marginalized people, Black women are squarely at the intersection of benefit. So that is a little bit about me and what I do.
Oh, y'all are so good. My name is Dari Ovige. I go by Dari or Coach Dari. I am an educator. I've done almost everything you can do in the school. I'm also an entrepreneur, and I just love building community. Like that is my specialty, is listening to people and helping folks apply things. I'm just that girl that can get in and do all the things that you need done.
We need those girls. Yeah, we need those girls.
So I'm starting to feel like a feminist superhero. I have Big Mouth Woman to support women in uplifting their voices as change makers, and I have Deaf to Fuckboys to guide women through the process of gaining their self-esteem back after dealing with toxic love relationships and being able to come out on the other side as victors who understand what a healthy relationship looks like, and that they're in the choosing seat to be able to attract that, find that, want that, demand that. If you know someone that is navigating F-boys, toxic relationships, always in the same cycle with men or women, always defeated by relationships, then this is a course for them. Go ahead and give your friend, your bestie, your whoever with this course so that we can support them in being their accountability partner and help them through the journey of getting to a healthier place where they know how to identify what they don't want and they know how to advocate for what they do want. If you know someone like that, go ahead and click the link and grab the Deaf to F Boys e-course. This is for them.
So I want to start with something that feels good. What is one thing that you've done as of late, maybe in the past year at least, that you feel really good about and you're like, damn, I did that? And it could be in any sector like of your life. It could be work, it could be interpersonal, spiritual, whatever you want it to be. And we can popcorn.
I am so grateful for good health. And I had experienced COVID last year in May, and I was so exhausted after, and I felt like a failure through the process because I felt like I don't have enough tools to save my life. And that didn't make sense to me as a wellness practitioner, but it was like one of those things where you're like, you're living a human experience. You know what I'm saying? You're in a physical body, and that has to be tended to. So on June 1st, my birthday month, I like committed to working out. So I went from like 2 days a week to 3 days a week. Now I do like 5, 6 days a week.
What? You looking slim thick over here, girl.
I got muscle.
Now
And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe, even on days where I'm like, I don't feel like it, my body is still responding and still needing it. So even if my mind is like, oh, you're tired, there's like all these things, my body's like, your bowels have to move. There's like things that get me up and where I'm like, oh, well, I have to respond to this moment. So I've just been like so incredibly grateful for good health and like having my life and being able to access more tools to save my life and not in like response to crisis, but as like a way of living. So I like take certain vitamins and once I figured out like I could learn how to shape shift my body just by starting my day with honoring myself, I was like, oh, I can do the same thing with my skin. So I had like really bad acne and then I was like, oh, I can do the same thing with this. So I just started really taking what I learned with sculpting and like how I'm like sculpting my body, took that same perspective with other things. So I'm just so grateful for good health.
Ashe. Ashe.
Yeah, that was profound.
I just want to say that you look the fuck good. And I seen you do it. When you was like, I get up at 5 something and I go on my walks in the gym, I said, can I be like you? I don't get up and walk nowhere but to the bathroom and the kitchen. But I'll be quiet.
Well, while we're talking about health, mine was actually health related too. I had a lot of them. I thought about a lot of my like business stuff, but this past Monday I ran 10 miles. And I'm training for a half marathon. And I had some moments honestly where I didn't think I was gonna be able to do it. I did one in 2020 and COVID actually messed it up. So I actually had to run it by myself and track it on an app to get my medal because COVID hit 2 weeks before the marathon was supposed to happen. So it was just like, I was disappointed in everything, but my life was just completely different 3 years ago than it is now. And just a lot of things have changed. Not only am I older, but also just like new health things that I've gone through. And yeah, it's just been those 3 years have been more like 6. And so when I was coming back to it, I was just like, I don't really know if I can do this. And so when I finished the 10 miles, I was like, well, if I can do 10, I can do 13. But that was like a pivotal moment of me like knowing that I could do it because up until that point, I was actually like questioning if I was actually gonna be able to complete it. So that was something where I was at the end, I was like, you did that.
You got it.
That's awesome. Her run is next weekend, and we're going to be waiting at the end at Snow Park when it ends to say, yeah, you did that.
Send me the info.
Okay.
Yes, I'll send it to you.
That's awesome.
Sporty spy.
So we got health. We have a lot of health. That's important. We Black women, so we look like we're in our 20s. But we're not. Anyways.
You say that because I just turned 38. And
Are you the oldest? I think you're the oldest.
Oh, I am the baby elder among the group.
Baby elder.
That's baby elder. But yeah, I made a post because I was, I made a birthday fundraiser post and I posted the link on LinkedIn and I didn't realize it would default to my Facebook page, Facebook profile picture. Okay. But I was like, oh, for my birthday, help me raise funds for the, my center and all this kind of stuff. And one of the people was like, 38 where? And I was like, in my knees.
In my knees.
In my knees. So
that's where it's at.
Like, yes, the skin can look fresh, the all that can look good, but you got to keep moving because if you don't, it'll be rickety. No, that's real. So I genuinely thank y'all for bringing that up because that's something that has been really in my spirit lately that I need to get back to taking care of my body because I have been abusing it for the sake of that which I am proud of. But I understand it's not sustainable. But that being said, what I am proud of is last year, a little over a year ago, I stepped into the role I'm in now as the CEO of EOYDC.
And, I grew up there, so I literally started there when I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
West African dance class and did all kind of the activities.
You was a center baby.
I was literally one of the center babies, literally, in so many different ways. And so to become the first alumni that's able to serve as CEO, is something, thank you, that I'm really proud of. And, I'm also really just proud of the fact that a lot of times people perceive in nonprofits that the neighborhood kids, you can aspire to grow up to become like maybe a line staff, perhaps a manager.
Yeah.
To be able to be in like one of these senior positions.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you go to mix and mingle, it's not thought of that the kids in the neighborhood could actually run it.
I love that.
Right.
I love that.
And that's changing now. And it's not just me, but there's this like shift of power in a real way. And I remember before the pandemic, I did a fellowship, which was designed for, leaders of public sector and nonprofit organizations under 40. And I remember we were doing a session on power dynamics. And I was like, well, as somebody who doesn't have a lot of power, and then somebody interrupted me, was like, wait, but aren't you the vice president of your organization? And I was like,
I got some power.
Have power. Right? I had suddenly positional power, but for so long, I carried that feeling of feeling powerless.
Yeah.
And so I always remind myself and others of that quote from Alice Walker, that the quickest way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. So one of the things that I'm very proud of is that I have been really diligent about trying to use every bit of positional power that I have to really do things the way I think that they should be done, and really just policy-wise changing things within the scope of our organization, because I feel like it's the right thing to do. It might not be what most people are doing, but I think it's the right thing to do. So you talk about underpaying people and all this kind of stuff, questioning all those kind of things, and doing so in a way that I'm bringing it to the attention of our funders. And I'm telling funders very straight up, we don't want to work with people who have a mindset of charity. We want to work with funders who have a mindset of solidarity. So if you want me to underpay my staff, no thank you. If you don't want me to give benefits to my part-time staff, no thank you. If you so forth and so on. If you expect us to have this like low overhead because you don't think that the people that work here matter, when over 50% of the people who work here are alumni and 100% of the people are Black, brown, and Asian, we're not gonna work with you. Period. And we have not lost any meaningful relationships in being radically, candid about our commitment to our people. And so that is what I'm proud of, is that I'm recognizing my power and I'm using my power.
I love that. It's a lot of people that just, I don't know, they know how to say all the big words in the rooms online and when it comes down to debate, but it's like, if it doesn't permeate like through your work and through your home life, then you're not really about that. Not that we should be perfect, but it's a lot of people got big mouths, but they don't be backing shit up. And I respect that you do. I really, really do.
I'm sharing my wins.
Yes.
Since we're on the topic of power, I feel like I reclaimed my power by leaving my relationship.
I shame.
Listen,
Oh,
that's
man.
probably the hardest thing that I've had to do
Amen.
in a really long time is to look at my husband and say, I'm done with this.
Wow.
And really stand on that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, you be trying to stand like.
really stand on it like that.
That part.
The thing
That part.
I've been able to do. It's been a year.
It's been a year.
Year now. This month making.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not hugging her because she left a man. I'm hugging her because she chose to do that. And she stood behind what she chose to do for herself.
I share.
And that's really what it was, is that I chose me. And spent the time to like get to know me. And because in babies, why daddy gets, listen, y'all gonna figure it out.
Oh my God.
Ask me the question if you want the answer. You might not want this answer, so go watch TV.
For me to like be able to do that and be at peace with it and say fuck you to all the people who tried to make me feel guilty for it.
You're leaving a good Black man. You've been together for so long.
Yeah.
You come get him then.
Baby, I will pay all the rent.
And I get it without bashing him.
Yes.
I will not bash that man. You can't pay me to bash that man. He needs something. That is still my community, right? But
Yeah.
I need to be in that relationship.
I love that.
Yeah.
Bless you. Family, but you're not.
Yes.
Exactly.
And you look good, girl.
Exactly.
Glowing.
You gotta be really like emotionally sound to not be petty during a divorce. Like people become so ugly through a regular breakup. And add divorce and years and paperwork and shit to it.
Yeah.
People become so petty and ugly. So I just feel like you're a class act to not be petty and to be hurt at the same time. To still recognize this is a human being I've been loving. This is the father of my children. I still want him to see him do well, but he's gonna have to do well at his own residence.
Yeah.
My social media lives very quickly. And we then removed all the people who didn't really like us and our families. Like, your brother didn't really like me, so
to begin with.
Right, let's just already get rid of those people. And we made a commitment that nobody was going to break that inner circle. So when your cousin talking shit about me or when my auntie talking about you, we're not going to allow that. Because you get on my last nerve, but nobody is breaking within this because we still got to raise these kids.
We do.
You know what I'm saying? And so we had to do it in a way that preserved our love for each other.
That's a bar. I hope you guys heard that. That is a bar. That is hard to do.
Yes. The love.
That's awesome.
You're still family. You're just not together romantically.
Yeah.
You do still have children together, so you're gonna still continue to be family.
Yeah.
You know how we were talking about the word partner? I love the word you used was community. Right?
Yeah.
About still connecting and sustaining in community.
Yeah.
When your ex is still in your community.
Yeah. Especially if it's the father of your children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the last 2 years have been a whirlwind for me, and I just feel like I'm winning all over the place.
I win, no matter what. That was like a DJ Khaled way that you kind of slipped it up in there.
I brought my family and we relocated from the East Coast to the West Coast. I didn't know anybody. My partner, he knows people, but he's not as big on community as I am. So I have been intentional about putting myself out there to people of substance. I've been very discerning, which I'm proud of. And then I'm just silently crushing my goals one by one by one by one by one. So
I love that.
I love the way you put that.
The way you calm humble brag. I want to learn how to do that. I'm so terrible at bragging on myself because I don't want it to feel like ew. I want it to feel like, yeah, matter of factly. I gotta do it like Joya. Okay. I learned the lesson.
All over the place. I love it.
I eat breakfast and I'm winning. Like
This is like affirmation.
I love that.
Amazing women. So thank y'all for holding space. This is the shit to me. I'm gonna give mine to motherhood. Put that on the table because I'm fairly new at it. I have a 3-year-old. So I'm still a rookie in the mama game. Talking to my own mother whose eldest is 33. Like, man, you got 33 years up in this. Okay, now that's why you're doing that like that versus when, I remember when you were doing it like that. You know what I'm saying? My mom was a teenage mother, and I'm a comedian. I'm stepping into that. So that's even a new thing, like checking on like, okay, I'm affirming things I've been afraid to see in myself. Or like that big mouth, right? She gonna crack the joke. And so one of my running jokes with my mom and her being a teenage parent, like she'll tell backstories and I'll be like, oh, I know I was there. Right?
I remember when you did that too.
She's like, I didn't go to prom. I was like, I know. She's like, the fuck my mom, her comedy too. It's we borderline. Like we really all laughing at that. She's like, the fuck did you know? I'm like, I was there. Of course you didn't go. Taking that into now I'm mama has been my win. I have a son who is autistic. So along with stepping into motherhood, I'm stepping into a dynamic of serving a child is tough, period. and then serving a child where there are complexities and intricate layers is the scurriest shit. Yeah. And I'm winning. God prepared me for it. Luckily, God is so magical, whatever we call God, the energy, right, of God. Because I was blessed to be a behavioral therapist for 2 years before my son ever existed in my mind. And so I got to walk through a valley and observe an existence that you don't often, like, you look into the special needs class and you're like, okay, that's what this is in the world. But when you walk through that world, when you walk through the world of a Black woman, when you walk through the world of a person with one leg, when you walk through the world of people that are deaf, you see like there's so many different lenses. And God put this lens, and I remember when I got the job, like leaving out the office, like being that connected and grateful with this experience. Like, what are you trying to teach me? Wow, I feel so humbled to be able to be the person that's going to make sure somebody baby is safe and prepared and has a good, it's safe mostly too, because that's the thing. Like, don't, that's my baby. Yeah. So ethically, you want God's people over your children. Absolutely, yeah. And you especially want the ones that can't fight for themselves to be protected. So I have this baby who is challenging and expanding so much of what I understand about existing. And he is talking and he is thinking. He is reading. He is sign language. And he is reading and he is gorgeous. And he is so fun and just mine. And I'm like, I'm not through the fear, y'all, but like it's been a tunnel. And now I'm at this place where I could see the light and where I could look back and see light. And I'm so fucking proud. So that's been my win of all wins, my baby legend. You are such a good mommy, too. You really, really are.
That's so dope. I will just say, you know, I was talking about disrupting the status quo, and I've been saying for a while, I actually think it's the people who we call neurodivergent that are going to save the world. Because, you know, we work with these kids and they just think so far outside of the box. And when we see a lot of the climate disruption and all these things happening, it's being led by a lot of young people that are on the spectrum. Yeah. So I kind of almost feel like, to your point of God energy, it's almost like an evolution of like a group of children that are needed who don't think in the typical ways, because the typical ways are not going to be what makes the shifts that we need. So I kind of feel like it's a divine kind of thing. And that's not to say that neurotypical children and folks that we don't have our place either, but I think that there's
neurotypical.
Right. But I'm saying, like,
that tickled me. I like that.
There is, I think that's not, I don't think that's a mistake. You know, I don't want to speak out of turn because I'm not a part of the autistic community, but I do think like there's a type of problem solving that a lot of folks in that community engage in that I think is necessary.
Absolutely.
You know,
I love all those. I love all those high moments. And I think in all those categories, and motherhood and health and like, I can't even call what you do a job. It's not really a job. It's like a calling. And then even, you know, leaving someone that you love, all of those things are rough, hard to do. Knocking out your goals in silence. I don't know how to be silent about shit. And Jules said this last time that there's a power in silence, and so I'm learning to balance. But for me, something I accomplished last year was crushing some goals, but crushing goals through grief, like life-changing, life-shattering grief. And I feel like it's alchemy when you do that. Not when you like dive into your work so much so you can avoid the grief, because we do that. It's part of our coping, and I don't think it's the most terrible way to cope. We could do cocaine. We're working. We're working instead. So I don't think it's the most terrible way to cope, but utilizing my grief like as alchemy to do things that I want to do with my life, knowing that I could die. Like the fatality of I could be here with you guys today and gone tomorrow. So what do I want to do with my life? What would make me proud? What would make, my ancestors proud? And because really, y'all, when people are going through grief, you could really just be in bed, I could just lay right here, and you could really tunnel focus on the grief and ignore other people around you who are still living that you love, that you would be distraught if they weren't here, but you can't focus on them because you're stuck in the grief. And I definitely had those moments. And the supportive network, of my sisterhood, of my husband, my children being understanding, my mom, my parent that's still like here in the flesh. I did some things that I was proud of through it, and I didn't have to. And if anybody felt any kind of way about it, I just feel like you got to give grief the course it's going to take. Like, I don't have to perform. I don't have to be excellent. I don't have to be Black excellent. I don't got to be a boss bitch. I don't got to be none of this fucking shit. I just have to stay sane, and not saying like crazy, but saying like my spirit is not knowing how to tether back to the 9 to 5, back to my fiduciary responsibilities, back because my spirit is conflicted. But I still aspire to be excellent, to love on the people that are in my life, and to accomplish goals that I feel like are part of my legacy. But I realized through any of it, like, maybe I just want to be a regular ass bitch. Maybe I just want to go to work and go to brunch on Sunday. Fuck it. Like, maybe I don't have to be extraordinary. Like, every nigga feel like they got to be extraordinary. Like, can you just be a good person? So yeah, smashing some goals, some things that made me proud through grief is the thing that I'm proud of the most.
Ashe.
Ashe.
I would want to add to that though, because Tiara's nobility. And what I mean by that is, because no, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And yet you are his daughter.
Yeah.
And when you are spiritually noble, you have your ancestors. It's like when they say the last name, like, but the Johnsons, we strong people.
Yeah.
And as his daughter, you rise from the ashes like the phoenix. It's just in your blood. And so your move through grief with grace is astounding. But for me, even being exposed mostly to your father's soul, not to him in the flesh, I'm not surprised. I'm just like, you get this goat princess of course.
Thank you.
You are his princess. This is what y'all do.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Ashe.
And I hope, we're talking about my father, but I hope when I pass that my children feel like free to be themselves. But I also hope that, because kids act right when they respect you, they act right, or they fear you. They act right when you're in the room. It's when your kids are not in the room, you're like, are they still gonna have manners? Are they still gonna exert intelligence when I'm not in the room, or grace or humanity when I'm not in the space? And I feel like beholden to act right when my father is not in my presence. Act right what it means to me, because he already knew I was act up. But act right at the fundamental level is a lot of pressure on me to do that, I feel. Inner pressure that I put on myself. But mostly to uphold a legacy, not uphold perfectionism.
This is an opportunity for us to have discourse and talk about what's really burning and what we really have difficulties with. And so I merged Big Mouth Woman in Deaf to Fuck Boys. There will be a Deaf to F Boys segment so we can really get to the nitty gritty on relationship dynamics, what it means to be in a healthy relationship, what toxic relationships look like. And so look out for the Deaf to F Boys segment.